You're 25 years old, living with your parents, bank account at zero. Your college friend who got worse grades than you is already married, has his own apartment, and posts pictures from international trips while you share a bedroom. That colleague who started on YouTube after you already has sponsorships. The girl who came in green to your field has already been promoted twice. And you? Still in the same place, feeling like everyone figured out a code you don't have. Comparison isn't motivation. It's acid that corrodes your ability to focus, destroys your rhythm, and turns you into an audience of your own life. There's an operational method to escape this trap, tested in contexts where distraction literally cost lives. If you stay until the end, you'll understand the criterion that replaces measuring yourself against others and sustains progress when pride fails. I'll start with the error that keeps you stuck, thinking that looking sideways moves you forward. Part 1. The poison of comparison. You wake up and the first thing you do is open Instagram. 5 minutes later, you've already seen 3 people living the life you want. Your stomach tightens. You close the app angry, but 10 minutes later you're stalking LinkedIn, checking who got promoted. You've lost the entire morning measuring distance between you and everyone else. That's the pattern. You leave your path to try copying someone else's result without understanding their process. And in the middle of it, you lose your own precision. There's a classic case that shows this. A young fighter spent months observing rival schools, masters with reputation, elaborate movements, impeccable students. Obvious conclusion: I need to train like this to be recognized. He started imitating those styles, more showy postures, complex techniques. Lost 3 fights in a row. Not because the method was bad, because he was executing their form with his structure. It came out crooked, and crooked loses. The problem isn't admiring those ahead. It's using others' progress as your ruler. Each person has different foundation, different context, different resources. When you try to match someone else's trajectory, you ignore your own construction, and ignored construction collapses. Worse, comparison breeds rush. You see someone advance fast and think you need to accelerate too. Skip steps. Abandon minimum form because it's not giving results as fast as for that guy. Trade consistency for intensity. 2 weeks later, you're exhausted with no real progress. The other keeps advancing because they never left their own rhythm. The brutal truth: where there's comparison, your eyes leave the target. You stop paying attention to what you're doing to pay attention to what others do. Your criterion of "is it working" stops being internal evidence. Did execution improve? Is repetition clean? Did error decrease? And becomes relative position. Am I ahead or behind? Relative position says nothing about your progress, only about others' progress. And there's chronic stress. Every time you look sideways and see someone more advanced, the body interprets it as threat. Cortisol rises, attention disperses, decision worsens. You enter reactive mode. Each of your moves becomes response to someone else's move. You stop having your own strategy. You become a shadow. Clear symptom that comparison is destroying you. You can't celebrate your own progress. Improved 10%, but that guy improved 20. Hit your goal, but the other hit bigger goal. You created a system where victory is impossible because the ruler always moves. Part 2. Internal metrics, trading approval for evidence. The Japanese have a concept called Shoshin, beginner's mind. It's not pretending you don't know anything. It's dropping the ego that prevents you from seeing. And comparison is pure ego. You're not measuring progress. You're measuring social position. And social position doesn't teach anything. When you stop comparing yourself, the first thing that happens is clarity. You finally see where you actually are. not in relation to others, in relation to what you want to build. The question changes from, am I ahead of whom, to, am I executing well? And well has objective markers. The practical turn, you need internal metrics, not social metrics, followers, likes, ranking. Execution metrics, number of clean repetitions, time under tension without failure, consecutive days, time reduction to complete standard task, precision in reproducing fixed form. When that fighter realized comparison was destroying training, the decision was radical. Eliminate external metrics and create 3 internal markers. First, 30 minutes of basic form every day without exception. Second, 100 clean cuts. Third, correct posture in 90% of repetitions. That's it. Nothing about more than that guy or faster than the other. Just raw evidence. Second week, something changed. The attention that used to go to checking others' progress now went entirely to execution. He started noticing details invisible before, micro adjustments in grip, small oscillations in balance, breathing timing. Each detail corrected became real gain. Internal metrics do what social metrics never do, show exactly where to act. I'm behind that guy tells you nothing operational. My posture breaks on cut 15 tells you exactly what to train tomorrow. One is anxiety, the other is plan. And you stop switching methods. Comparison makes you change strategy every time you see someone having different results. With internal metrics, you have data on whether it's working. Markers improving? Continue. Not? Adjust one variable and measure again. Decision becomes science, not emotional reaction. The lesson: trade approval for evidence. Approval is volatile. Today they praise, tomorrow they criticize. Evidence is stable. Either you executed well or you didn't. Either you improved or you didn't. The criterion doesn't change with the audience's mood. Part 3. Ma. Distance from noise. There's a Japanese word, ma, the space between things, the interval that allows clarity. In comparison context, ma is the distance between you and social noise. Without this distance, your mind only reacts. Every time you open social media, you receive 10 inputs about what others are doing. Each input is an invitation to comparison. Your brain processes each one as potential threat to status. And while processing threat, it doesn't process execution. The solution isn't motivational, it's structural. You build environment that protects attention, times without phone, spaces without interruption, people who don't feed comparison. It's not willpower. It's environment design. Example: that fighter established simple rule. Training in first hour of day, isolated location, no audience. Nothing about training where everyone sees each other. Nothing about busy time where you can measure who's faster. Training became private ritual with one goal: clean execution, not social performance. Immediate effect. No audience, no rush. No rush, no stupid error. No stupid error, progress accelerated. Seems contradictory, but when you stop trying to impress, you improve faster. All energy goes to what matters. Another aspect of Ma, interval between stimulus and response. When you see someone succeeding and feel impulse to change your approach immediately, Ma is the pause before acting. I'll note this and review at week's end. Not reaction, analysis. Most bad decisions come from reacting too fast. You see competitor changing strategy and change too, without knowing if it's working for them or if it's desperate move. With Ma, you observe, wait, collect data, decide based on evidence, not on anxiety. And there are people around. Some feed comparison all the time. Did you see what that guy posted? You should already be at this level. These people are noise. Ma is creating distance from them too. Choose who you talk to about your process. Talk to those who ask, "How was execution today?" instead of, "Did you see what the other did?" Lesson: without space, mind only reacts. With space, mind decides. Decision based on internal criterion always beats reaction based on social anxiety. Part 4. Shuha-ri. Don't invent before mastering Japanese framework. Shuha-ri. 3 stages. Comparison messes up all 3. Shu. Obey. You copy the form of someone who already masters it. Don't question. Don't adapt. Just replicate until form shapes you. Here, comparison is fatal. You look sideways and see someone at different stage doing differently. Get tempted to skip steps. That guy is already varying. Why am I still on basics? Because that guy already went through Shu. You didn't. Ha! Break. You've internalized base form, can test conscious variations, but you break with criteria, not impulse. Know why the rule exists before breaking it. Comparison also harms here. You see someone innovating and think, "I need to innovate not to fall behind." But innovation without base is poorly executed improvisation. Transcend. You and form became one. Innovation isn't effort, it's natural expression of mastery. Here, comparison is irrelevant. You're not playing the same game as others anymore. Concrete case. The decision to use 2 swords instead of 1, Niton Ichi Ryu style, only happened after years mastering 1 sword. Years. It wasn't, "I saw someone using 2 and thought it was cool." It was, "My base with 1 is solid to support complexity of 2. The form was so internalized that adding the second blade was expansion, not confusion. If this change had been made 2 years earlier, from rush or vanity, it would have destroyed the foundation. But when the right moment came, transition was natural. It wasn't comparison, it was internal evolution. Common trap. You see someone advanced, doing something complex, and think you need to do the same to be at same level. Number. You need to be at same level to do the same. Order matters. Brutal lesson. Innovating early is just vanity with pretty name, and vanity doesn't build anything solid. Part 5. Mushin, permanent filter. Last piece, Mushin, mind without fixation. Praise and criticism pass like wind. You observe, don't stick. Internal criterion decides what matters. Problem of measuring yourself by others. You outsource your criterion. Someone praises, you think you're doing well. Someone criticizes, you think you're doing badly. But neither necessarily reflects execution reality. Praise can come when you're relaxing. Criticism can come when you're progressing. Mushin puts you back in control. Someone praises? You check. Did my markers improve? If yes, praise confirms evidence. If not, it's social noise. Someone criticizes? Same logic. Is there evidence of failure? Fix it. No? Ignore. You need this filter at work, study, training, business. People will have opinions about what you do. Most of these opinions aren't based on evidence. They're projections, insecurities, envy, or lack of knowledge of your context. If you let these opinions shape your path, you don't have a path. You have chain reaction. Internal criterion works like this. Define markers that matter. Execution, consistency, precision. Measure frequently. Adjust based on data. External opinion only enters if it comes with useful evidence. You should do differently without specifying what and why. Noise. I noticed your posture breaks on movement X. Maybe adjusting Y helps? Information. You test, measure, decide. In final years of life, there was long retreat in a cave called Reigondo. There, far from comparison or social validation, the work was to distill 60 years of experience into clear principles. This became the book Go Rin no Sho. 2 years of writing. No rush, no audience, no concern with what other masters were writing. Just internal clarity transformed into portable method. This type of work only happens when you drop comparison, because comparison keeps you on surface. You adjust presentation instead of building substance. You worry about what it looks like instead of what it is. Here's the synthesis. Comparison kills you because it replaces internal criterion with relative position. And relative position says nothing about real progress, only about social anxiety. The antidote is operational. Build internal metrics, clean repetitions, objective markers, protect with Ma, environment that shields attention, respect Shuhari, don't invent before mastering, and filter everything with Mushin, praise and criticism as information, not absolute truth. When you do this, you stop waking up checking what others do, stop losing sleep with envy, stop changing strategy every week, because now you have your own criterion, and your own criterion gives you what comparison never gives: clear direction. Most will spend life being audience of themselves. You can exit this today. Define 3 internal markers that measure real execution. Eliminate one source of comparison. Protect one time where only you and the task exist. Each day without internal criterion is a day where you don't control your own progress. Each day with internal criterion is a day where you build independent of noise. When the criterion is yours, comparison has nowhere to anchor.